I always say that as a society, we do not celebrate enough. The Warriors celebrated. They celebrated plenty. And of course, the mouth of the Warriors had something to say. Let's listen to Draymond Green.
This has been an amazing year. I told y'all don't let us win a championship. And clearly, nobody could stop it. I warned y'all. But what brings me the most joy in winning a championship ever since I won my first one is seeing the guys who win it the first time. I just want to say thank you all, and as always, everybody else. I love y'all.
I love Draymond Green so much. Jalen Rose, the parade. I think there might have been some adult beverages.
I'm so happy for Day-Day, fellow Michigander. He's from Saginaw, went to Saginaw High School. You know, since day one, I've been, who are we, Saginaw Pride? Because I not only saw a winner, but I saw a leader, a champion, and somebody that could be a game changer without necessarily raining three-point shots or scoring 25 points a game. He's a new era version of a glue guy, an enforcer. You called him the voice of the team. Like, he carries so many roles that are beyond the box score. And he gives them that level of toughness that now all of a sudden he puts it out there, and now it seems like they have to back it up. I appreciate that. And it's like, put it all on me. You were at the game in Boston. It's almost like when I was watching Crush Groove and Run got into it with Russell. He was like, they ain't screaming Russell DMC. They screaming Run DMC. You know what I mean? And when they was in Boston, they was all screaming at Draymond.
Yep.
But Steph Curry was the one scoring 43. You see what I mean? And so what I appreciate is how he's matured and embraced that role, and how his teammates have rallied behind him, how his coaching staff has trusted him. Because when you walk on the edge like that, of almost getting one tech and two techs, and you have a history when he got ejected one time and they lost to the Cavs, sometimes you want to take that player's aggression away. Like, the Splash Brothers and Steve Kerr boost him.
Fuel it.
So much so that, please run that video again. I'm going to show y'all something that's extremely funny. When he said what he said, when he dropped the mic, where was he walking to?
It's sitting right back down. The chair is right there.
Right, exactly.
So we have the MVP of the finals is Steph Curry. The MVP of the parade was Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson had himself a day. It started when he lost his hat on the boat on his way to the parade.
Yeah.
And not only did he lose his hat, he lost a lot. He lost his championship ring. Look, he loses his championship ring, just drops on the ground. It's in the confetti. He can't find it. He had a day.
So people, a lot of times, for a guy like me that didn't win a championship in college or the pros, always ask me, like, what I missed beyond that happening. And the only thing I wanted to do is have a parade. Because being from Michigan, we had a Thanksgiving Day parade in Detroit, and that was always a big thing for my childhood, right? And so that's what I miss. And when Klay celebrated yesterday, he's the first athlete that I looked at and said, I missed that.
Well, he's
Because
not done.
all of the visuals,
Look at this one.
because all of his visuals would be my visuals.
Look at that. He can't stand.
And look, but here's the thing.
That's one of the best athletes on the planet.
But here's the thing. Hey, I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you a secret. When you've been drinking and you stumble, you fall forward. You know what I'm saying?
I love that video so much. That poor lady.
They just changed terrain
She's
just a
standing
little
there.
bit.
She got ran over by Klay Thompson. Oh, no.
Oh, man. But I'll tell you this, and shout to her for being a good sport, and shout to the Warriors fans, San Francisco. I know, like, being a team that moved from Oakland, there are a lot of people in that town that are upset that they left.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm glad to see Toscano Anderson, a guy who grew up in that area, Gary Payton II, whose father is from the Bay. And it's a joy to see, like, a player like him who was in the G League, Jordan Poole last year, who was in the G League,
Gary
now all of a sudden
Payton
get a chance to celebrate this.
was going to put in his resume to be the video coordinator for the Warriors. He was going to give up the game and try to get into the front office by being the video coordinator. Ends up being a key piece of their playoff run and their finals championship.
But we need more Clay because also that's a failed test. And I know the league ain't tested anymore. And I know, like, he was outdoors, and I know that California has a different ordinance than everywhere else across the country.
Yes.
I would say, the aroma that can be in the air. But, man, he's the first athlete, Jacoby. I was like, I missed that. That's what I
love that you never won a championship in college of the pros, and you're not like, God, I just want to have that ring or that trophy. I want to have that moment when the buzzer sounds. You're like, I want to have the party.
I want to be
I want to have the party. So, Jalen, I have an important question for you now. They've won 4 championships in this run. Are we going to see more parades in San Francisco with this nucleus?
So they have ownership willing to spend.
Sure are.
They have an all-time great coach. They have a GM that when the team was injured, drafted well. Mm-hmm. And let me name 3 people that they got. Kuminga, Moody, and Wiseman.
Yep.
None of which are in the box score in theory in these finals.
No.
But yet each of them are going to grow into rotation players that are mainstays for what they do for a long time in their own right. Like Kuminga has like defensive player of the year type growth potential. And Wiseman has the skill of a big, like a multi-time all-star type of big. And Moody, he got a thumper. Like he can thump that thing. And so the other young guys, Poole, that's also a part of that. Now you create an infrastructure, unlike you see, for example, in LA when LeBron kind of came to the team and you have to lose so much to bring him and AD together. You now can usher Steph and the Splash Brothers into being a little bit older and not having to play 35 minutes all of the time and not having to be the leading scorer every night. So you can pace them throughout the regular season. And so now when the playoffs come, Steph just only averaged, and I'm being sarcastic, 35 in the finals. You know what I'm saying? So I know we love how Wiggins played.
Yeah.
And we celebrate Clay at the parade, and my guy Jordan Poole hit some crazy half-court loud shots, and we celebrated Day-Day. But let me just say, not a point guard or a shooting guard, he's the vanguard. Steph Curry's the leader of the new school. He averaged 35 in the finals, so he ain't slowed down, clearly. So yes, I agree with you, my brother. They have a great opportunity to do what our guy E40 said on this show. We laughed at him when he said. We laughed
at him. He said they were going to get 9 championships. We laughed. And we were like,
We laughed.
We laughed.
So I ain't mad. Like, I'm not mad. I can't lie. When the Golden State Warriors team was put together, I never would have thought they'd win more championships than the Miami Heat Big Three. I never would have thought that.
Well, Jalen, there's a Big Three in Brooklyn. They haven't played together on the Nets yet, but we're hearing things about the Nets and Kyrie Irving. We're hearing things. Is it the Nets or nothing for Kyrie Irving? There are some other teams potentially in play. Lakers, Clippers, New York Knickerbockers. Your thoughts? So
a mercurial, game-changing, championship, future Hall of Fame talent like Kyrie Irving is going to expose the hypocrisy of so many media members and fans.
Oh, interesting.
Because when he plays for the Nets now, everybody's going to complain about what happened in Cleveland, what happened in Boston, him not getting vaccinated, how many games he's missed, why you don't want him on your team until you hear your team has a chance to get him. So I have to ask you, sir, you're a Daisy Knick fan. How would you feel?
No.
See? No, that's
because it's nothing against Kyrie Irving. The Knicks are not Kyrie Irving away from being in contention. You know what I mean? They're not a Kyrie Irving away from being.
You know what they're Kyrie Irving away from being? Relevant. Relevant. Like, I want everybody to know these last few years were an outlier. Take it from somebody like me, who never has applied for a day off, that's never missed a show. That's an outlier. We've had 3 NBA champions in the last 20 months, including in a bubble, including a pandemic. Normally we have 1 champion every 12 months. So these years are outliers. We got the draft basically in August, and those were outliers starting the season in December. So, like, I think as we get back to a normal NBA body clock, personally and professionally for all of the players, a guy like Kyrie is going to be able to usher himself into being the caliber player that is going to be somebody you can rely on day to day, but also be a dominant player that still is trying to compete for championships. This idea that his argument at the table is different than James Harden. James Harden, we like, oh, you slow down a little bit.
Not
He's
Kyrie.
in shape. You know what I'm saying? Can he fit? Like that ain't the argument.
Remember Kyrie in Charlotte?
Exactly. That ain't the debate for Kyrie. So if you're the Nets, you get this done. You give him a max deal.
Max deal.
Of course. You give Kyrie top dollar. And because you want him under contract. And you want to keep KD happy, who's also under contract.
So, Jalen, you asked me about the Knicks and Kyrie, and the Knicks have been rumored to be interested in.
That's why I said that.
Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving, Jaden Ivey, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Ayton, Carmelo Anthony, Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner. Should Knicks fans just temper their expectations?
You know what you got to do is have a little patience. See what ends up happening, like New York fans approach the game with an intensity like Celtic and or Lakers championships. So what ends up happening is their fans and impatience make the organization feel like we need to be championship or bust every year. Mm-hmm. So now every move got to be a home run swing. Every move got to be a double down at the blackjack table. Here's what they need to do. Just exercise a little patience. That's actually what they need to do. You can't throw money at this problem.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to draft well.
Irving ain't gonna fix it either.
But no, that's different. That's a proven. Hey, dog, you are so wrong about this. Like if
they're gonna win the Eastern Conference, they get Kyrie Irving.
I mean,
they're gonna get.
Are they gonna win it without him?
They're gonna be a 7th seed.
Are they gonna win it without him
in the first round?
Dog, I'm trying to tell you, you are wrong on this one. You want Kyrie Irving on your basketball team if you're the New York. First off, he's a showstopper. When the last time you went to a Knicks game, it was like, ooh, wow.
This is not a anti-Kyrie Irving stance. This is the New York Knicks do not need to spend the kind of money to bring Kyrie Irving in.
Why do you care about the money that they spending?
Because they should be getting younger players. You know what? We talk about the Knicks too much already.
Well, that's the whole point. Name all of the people affiliated with them. Name those names. Name those names again.
Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving, Jaden Ivey, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Ayton, Carmelo Anthony, Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner, and just Dame Lillard on there too.
You're not gonna get Ivy in the draft.
You move up,
right? Do you pay Jalen Brunson to be the face of your franchise?
I don't think
so. So what ends up happening is my point is these are all good players. Like Jalen Brunson is a really good player. Ivy's gonna be a really good player. Kyrie Irving is a mercurial player. He's on a different level. If you can get that dude, you do it. Like everybody has allowed like so many other what he tweets and sometimes what he says. And like him not being at practice 100% of the time the last 20 months, I don't think that's the player that you the Pistons can get him. Come on, man.
Jalen,
you get him. Pay him Nets. Pay Kyrie Irving.
The draft is just 2 days away. Apparently, the Orlando Magic have not settled on who they want at number 1. Is that just game? Who knows? But there are 3 or 4 really good prospects that they could choose from. We'll break that down right after this. You are watching Jalen and Jacoby. Coming to you live above the Heineken River Deck here in New York City, Pier 17. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, the draft is just 2 days away. The number 1 pick, Orlando Magic, have still not decided who they're going to pick. Those 3 faces right there are the most probable prospects that will end up in a Magic uniform.
Chet, Jabari, Paolo.
Should they know who they're going to pick? Do they know who they're going to pick? Is this just game?
No, I don't think that there's a clear-cut number 1. It depends on what you hope to get accomplished. And like I always tell you, when you're talking about the top 5 players, you ain't going to hear we're drafting him to get 9 rebounds and 3 blocks. You drafting somebody in the top 5 that you hope be a perennial all-star. You hope somebody that's going to be a 20-point scorer and somebody that's going to be a face of your franchise for a long time. And Orlando has missed at this. They've missed at this. Like for a team that's had the number one pick so often, you hope to do what the Cavs were able to do.
Orlando's got Dwight Howard with the number one pick, Shaquille O'Neal with the number one pick, and they parlayed the number one pick into Anthony Hardaway. That's pretty good. Those are hits. Those are hits.
Okay, but you're talking to me about hits in the 90s. Talk to me about some hits in the 2020s.
I don't think they're the number one pick.
All right, but I'm just saying, like, Orlando, for a team that's drafted so very often in the lottery, like,
that's fair to say.
You want to make sure that this becomes your franchise. Like, they're still looking for their franchise player. Is that fair to say? Like Wagner out of Michigan is somebody that I love. I love what Jalen Suggs brings to the table.
I thought he would.
And Cole Anthony is a scorer, but the big fella that made 7 threes at the end of the season, Mo Bamba, my guy Mo Bamba, like he's an intriguing prospect, but what do you put alongside of them? I say based on what I see from their team, you might have to just roll the dice on Chet.
Roll the dice on Chet. Interesting. He has probably the highest ceiling, but also the lowest floor. He seems to be the biggest gamble of these three prospects.
Well, think about what you said. Like, they hit with Shaq, big guy, right? You hit with Dwight, different type of big guy than Shaq. Now, Chet would be a different kind of big guy than both of them because he'll be shooting threes.
Yep.
And playing with facing the basket. So, again, Three great prospects, and I know a lot of people are saying like this is a 3 or 4 team draft, but I feel like the Pistons gonna be good at 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of
if we get Murray and we get Ivy,
these 3 get a lot of attention.
Yeah,
as they should.
As they should.
So one thing about Chet, right? He has a unique body type. We'll say when he was in 8th grade, he went from 6'2" to 6'10" in 1 year. Are you concerned about his frame?
Well, if you look at Paolo's frame, you would say he's growing into his body a lot more mature, seem to be a lot more physically ready. And then if you look at Jabari Smith, but if you look at Jabari Smith, you'll say the same thing. You'll say, oh, he got to get stronger, he got to get bigger, got to get more physical.
Yep.
But the one thing about the game is that it isn't as physical as it used to be. That's why you're able to see smaller guards, thinner guards, able to, navigate in traffic because they don't have to hit the floor as much, and you just can't just be as physical with them. It's the same with the bigs. You can't really impede his progress. So his skill is going to drive his game. So again, for Chet, for him to grow the way he did and grow into his game, it's been incredible to watch. And Jabari, your mid-range shooter, knockdown shooter, a 3-point shooter.
Beautiful.
They're all really good prospects. But again, I don't think it's just a 3 top. I think they're the clear-cut 3 best players going into the draft as it relates to picking, but don't underestimate Murray and don't underestimate Ivy either.
Jalen, it's time for one of our signature segments. It's time for cultural or regional.